1-star reviews.
Birds of Prey.
We all hated Birds of Prey, right? Add your 1-star review in the comments.
Wow. What did I just sit through? I seriously cannot believe that this film was made, let alone the studio thought that it would make money. This film makes the Batwoman TV show look good, and I didn't think that was possible.
Worst experience of my life. Well, I highly suggest that you do not smoke before starting that movie. I did, and I was trapped on my couch without the will to move my arm to reach the remote control. So I was literally forced to watch the whole movie. If I ever will be a bad person and that for go to hell, this exact situation but for all eternity will be my punishment. I started praying daily to prevent this horrible fate.
Impossible to sit through. I actually like the actors. No hate here. But this movie is impossible to sit through. There is not one good thing about it. There is not one scene worth watching. At all. What functioning industry would produce something like this? I cannot comprehend.
What a piece of mess. Saw this movie with no expectations and open-minded. And oh my word, what a complete disaster. This movie was a pain to watch. Boring. Nothing happening. Stupid dialogue and a script that's just not interesting at all. I honestly didn't think that a movie that was so hyped could get so ruined in so many ways. Some elements were kinda cool, but not enough to clean up the mess the rest of the movie served. Without a doubt one of the worst movies I have ever watched, possibly the worst ever. A total waste of money in my opinion.
Wanna be Deadpool without the laughs. Target demographic 12 to 17-year-old girls. Movies rating R18+. Whoever thought this was a good idea definitely needs to reconsider. Your own audience couldn't see it. It's easily the worst of the 8 DC films to date. You want female empowerment? Watch Wonder Woman.
Bad movie with a bad agenda. I like women. I like equality. I don't like idiotic political agendas like all women good, all men bad. Besides that, the whole feels cheap and stupid. Margot is an excellent actor, so I think this was a missed opportunity to make something cool. They should have learned from the Joker.
Absolute garbage. I haven't walked out of a film in 30 years. Until tonight. About 45 minutes was all I could take. There literally wasn't a single scene that wasn't absolutely stupid in every way. I just there squirming. Feeling so embarrassed for Margot. Please do not waste your money on this awful film.
Not worth the time, not worth the money. I did not think the movie was worth the time it took to watch it. Harley, the main character, never shows any change from being a selfish, despicable person. The only two good characters take a back seat and hardly show up until the end instead of getting sufficient screen time to make them memorable. And the way it's written makes it as hard to follow as the story your 5-year-old is trying to tell you. Overall, it had some scenes with good graphics, but not enough to make up for the colossal waste this movie is.
Worse than Suicide Squad. Before we saw this movie, my son told me that there were lots of 1/10 reviews on IMDB from people who hadn't even seen the film. Well, here's a 1/10 review from someone who has. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn reminds me a lot of Lori Petty in Tank Girl 1995. Another comic book film that really ground my gears. Like Petty's character, every quirky mannerism and snarky comment by Harley got right on my tits. As did her horrible fashion sense. In addition to Robbie's diabolical performance, we get equally obnoxious turns from Rosie Perez as a tough cop, Ella J. Basco as an annoying pickpocket, and Ewan McGregor as camp crime boss Roman Sionis. Plus an absolutely pointless tribute to Marilyn Monroe. Lots of dumb, supposedly amusing captions, a tiresome self-aware voiceover, and a horrible CGI hyena. Director Kathy Yan, who, working from a charmless script by Christina Hodson, is unable to do anything interesting with the admittedly wafer-thin plot, which can be boiled down to just a handful of words: everyone is looking for a diamond, a muddled, noisy, gaudy mess, full of poorly constructed action scenes and goofy humor that falls flat on its face. Birds of Prey is possibly the worst film I have seen at the cinema in recent months. And I saw Cats and Bombshell, another Margot Robbie disaster.
Wanted to like it, but such a disappointment. The acting was good. Most of the actors gave it their all. But the film was just so ugly. Gave me a headache just looking at it. Also, the dialogue was so cringe-worthy. It wanted to sound and look edgy. But ended up being a complete mess of a film. Feel sorry for a character with such a strong fan base.
If you enjoy a man-hating, femsplaining, dumpster fires, then this movie is for you. With badly driven character arcs and non-existent plot. Birds of Prey is a directionless mess. Instead of showing you a fun and interesting story, they would rather talk you through expository dialogue and narration. Beneath this pile of wasted potential is a sadly missed opportunity for an interesting story about some of DC's most interesting characters. The most compelling part of the movie for me was Hunter S., who had less screen time than an adolescent pickpocket. But the best part of the film isn't even about the film, but the critics' response. Even the top critics, whose job it is to judge movies by their story and characters, say that the fighting was so cool that it makes it a good movie. So then, why isn't Green Lantern considered a good movie? Man of Steel, Suicide Squad. These critics are either too dumb to realize an awful movie when they see one, or they're afraid to criticize movies because of the backlash they might get. In conclusion, don't make the same mistake I did and waste your hard-earned money on this 2-hour-long mood swing.
Not the Birds of Prey. Suggestion: when doing a comic book film using beloved characters, make sure to land those characters. You can deconstruct them all you like, but if the heart isn't there, you get this instead of the Joker. There is no Birds of Prey. At least none recognizable from their source material counterparts. Robbie is not Harley. Her 90s trashy grunge gender studies cousin maybe. But not Harley. When a cartoon does better than a multi-million-dollar film, you've failed. Over-the-top man-hating new wave feminism and alphabet representation for no reason. Action is not believable. Writing is atrocious.
Skip it. Too much exposition. The film was constantly telling a story of why they were doing something instead of just doing the thing. Seemed rushed and the characters were never really fleshed out. The action scenes were a little too silly. Bad guys with guns running right up to the heroes before discharging their weapons only to be thwarted in the last second by a melee countermeasure. As a gun guy, the first can tell you that you shoot from a distance because 1, it's your biggest advantage, 2, who the hell wants to get splattered in blood?
The only praying that happened in this movie was for it to end. I am a huge fan of Suicide Squad and Margot nailed Harley Quinn. So if barbed wire and a really bad circus had a baby, it would be Birds of Prey. The cast had no magic and the fight scenes were just plain ridiculous. I know this wasn't supposed to be an Academy Award movie, but I expected a lot more from the writers and directors. Save your money, and if you're really bored and are tired watching grass grow, rent it and watch it while you play on your iPad. Sorry. Margot, save your career and stay away from any sequels down this road.
God-awful utter tripe. As I sit here in this cinema, pondering at the meaning of life, I've been given the opportunity to do this by coming to see a god-awful fantasy film with no rhyme or reason to its shabbily concocted storyline and semi-large budget. It just makes no sense and is nonsense. Please save yourself the hassle, I bet you. The humor in this film is so weird. It might make an 11-year-old laugh, but the problem is it's too violent for that age group. In summary, if you like mindless violence and crass jokes, then in a fantasy setting, go watch this. For most normal people, save yourself some money and time. This is dire. Don't even wait for it on DVD.
It's possible to make a worse movie, but hard. There is a car chase at about 25 miles per hour. A fight in a bouncy castle, baseball bats v guns, knives. Disjointed narrative. McGregor is about as intimidating as cornflakes. It doesn't know who its audience is. Mercifully short.
The movie was so bad. Train wreck of a movie. Robbie looked like she was trying to be an extra in My Name is Earl. Seriously. Jamie Presley would have done a way better job. The only thing that was okay about this film was the soundtrack. Best way to describe this movie would be mix Deadpool, Boondocks Saints, Suicide Squad and Charlie's Angels together. Mix in some really bad acting and you get this gem.
The script is messy. First part of the bop, that feels like 2/3 of the movie, is just bunch of character introduction, flashbacks, retelling stories. The antagonist is lame and boring. Action scene isn't exciting, full of slow-mo scenes. Harley just spins too much, it seems unnecessary. Dinah's scream is just out of nowhere. How did this movie get made? So many good actors and characters. How did this turn out so badly? If it was free to watch, I would have turned it off. Unfortunately, it's just bad.
Waste of time. If you want to watch a really bad movie, I recommend this movie.